There we go. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is. It's morning for me, afternoon for Nick, afternoon for you folks, but still morning for me. So sorry about that. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Let's roll the open in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Problems. Here we go. Try that. Oh, Stito, you're a good man. Off the top. Question being asked. If I was to sign blame. Yeah, I don't know if it's Hope's fault. I don't know. To pull the curtain back, you folks that don't know what we're talking about, some of our Mix LR Mafia, the group, they've kind of self-called themselves. I don't know if that's the right name or not, but that's what we're going by. That's what they're calling themselves. Apparently, they're blaming the loss last night on each other. I'm not sure what happened exactly. The chat was great. It's funny. As wheels off as the game might have been at times last night, the chat was, I think we had 200 chat messages going on last night. That's pretty good, and really good stuff last night. So yeah, I will go with that. I'll say to be determined, Stito, to be determined. Bring that down. Anyway, you can comment, you can question, you can ask. That's what we're here for on Monarchs Mocha, which I'm going to bring the graphic up. There we go, and apply that. And if you guys can see this, what I've got in my hands here. Right here. Roastery. Air roasted coffee, chocolate raspberry cold brew. Naturally flavored coffee right here. Innocent indulgence. Enjoy our slow, steep cold brew coffee with notes of decadent chocolate, complemented by natural flavors of fresh raspberry, with 0 calories, carbs, and sugars, which I mean, that's all good for me. It's innocent as it is delicious. Treat yourself. Kansas City made, the Roastery Coffee Company, which brings you this show right here. Monarchs Mocha. A sound in college, I heard that. I was like, I skipped class, right? As an adult, I'm adulting and actually working. It's kind of scary how that works. Roastery Coffee Company, 6 locations in Kansas City. Again, right there, cold brew. I got this from the factory. Actually, this is part of my stash from the Han Party at 6. They got it at the factory. I got mine at the factory. That's where you can go to get this, or Leewood, or any of the 6 locations. I don't know if you'll find it necessarily at a Price Chopper, but you'll find the Legends Brew at Price Chopper and the Nitro. There you go. Very refreshing, and I'll go through that momentarily. All right, where do we start today? Thumbs up. You guys are hearing me, right? Correct? Guess I should have asked that already, or maybe I should just check and make sure I'm hearing myself. It's always a good thing. Last night was it was odd in a weird sort of way. Boy, there's a Yogi Berra statement. I've never heard one, right? Odd in a weird sort of way. I never felt like the Monarchs were out of it, but I never felt the Monarchs were in it. That's a weird feeling, because usually in this booth, I can tell you, and I was talking to somebody about this last night, the weekend series in Sioux Falls, despite the fact Sioux Falls had come back a couple of times when Kansas City was there last, I didn't really feel like at any point that, let's see if we're, there we go. I got the comments right here. Yeah, made an effort last night. Adam says you're right. It was good to see some of your mates there last night. Let's see here. If we come to the game, can you throw me one of those down in lieu of Twinkies? Yes, I'll see if I can. Just come below the window, and I'll like put it on a little hook and just hand it down to you like a little fish hook. Hope gives you coffee. All she gives you is a cold shoulder. Well, look in the mirror, young man. Look in the mirror. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Anyway, over the weekend, as I was saying at Sioux Falls, and even on Sunday, At 5-1, I was a little skeptical in the seventh, but I still felt like at no point that weekend was I really sweating it. And I think when you do what I do and you're in that seat or this seat in the course of a game, you get the feeling of a game. You get the feeling of momentum. For example, in the championship series last year, honestly, it could have gone either way in Fargo. That especially at game 2. Game 1, I wasn't so concerned about. I felt like we had the better matchup, and it was clearly obvious we were on a roll that night. Game 2, playing on house money, it was basically a pitch-by-pitch proposition. I take you back to last weekend, felt pretty confident all the way, even on Sunday. Now, last night, you play a team you haven't seen, and some excitement there, some you don't really know them that well. I look at their record. I saw where the Monarchs were standings-wise, and I kind of I didn't really have much of a clue. I felt pretty confident. But even during the game last night, I felt strangely confident that the Monarchs would come back, but also felt strangely confident that we would. It was just a weird feeling last night. I don't know if it was the part of just the way it was Tuesday night. It felt, it was kind of a light house last night, to be honest. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it wasn't Friday or Saturday with the place jumping. It just wasn't that way. And I don't know if that had anything to do with it either, but I don't know how you guys felt last night about it. But 11-7, although you ask yourself if you could somehow kept the damage off the board in the 8th inning, is it a different 9th inning? I mean, you're batting a tying run in the 9th inning is what I'm saying to you. So, and in this league where it's been some crazy finishes lately, 2 nights ago, the triple play for a win. For Gary, you've had some crazy numbers. Last night, Sioux City and Fargo. We're going to talk about that in a moment when I show you the standings. Sioux City came back on a couple of big deficits, then lost in a walk-off fashion last night to Fargo. There's been some crazy games going on, and I don't know if that's just the way. I think part of it's the league. The league's got a lot of really good bats. I don't think outside of maybe 5 arms in the bullpen across the league, you can ever say that's a shutdown guy. I think that's playing into it a little bit too. I mean, really, you've seen Kansas City come back against some of the better arms in the league that you thought were the better arms. And, I just don't know if the depth of the shutdown guys was there from years past. I mean, there's a couple guys, McElrath up there in Sioux City comes to mind. I think if most of the closers are those guys. I would say most of the closers in this league are those guys. But what are the chances we get to play tonight? I would say very, very good. I will tell you this. This is what I'll tell you. I did my workout this morning with no drama, even though the rain was coming and it was raining around me. And what rain we did get wasn't, I was able to walk in the rain and talk in the rain and sing in the rain and all that. It didn't affect my workout this morning. It wasn't a monsoon. It wasn't, and we're at the ballpark now. I can show you a shot of the ballpark in a moment, Corey. But the field looks great. It's not covered right now. Probably needed a little bit of water because it was a warm one yesterday. This is that time of year where you know that field's thirsty, and it looks really green right now. I'll give you guys a shot of it right now. I'll just pull this around for you. Oops, sorry about that. You can see. It looks so green out there right now. There you go. No standing water anywhere. And the tracks look good. And I think that's really part and parcel of what you guys saw with the warning track improvements last offseason. That's a big, big part of it as well. So, yeah, I think we're fine. Monarchs weather, yeah. Oh, we've got to. I will tell you this, and I will. Steve, you think I'm kidding? We are actually in a good spot in the U.S. at the moment because south of us, across the Red River, whatever this trough is that's been kind of this rain across the Midwest, it's sitting below us, and all the moisture is kind of spinning around to the east of us and getting pounding over in Missouri, other side of Missouri and Kentucky in that direction, West Virginia. We're getting the milder showers and the temperature drops where south of us and north of us, they're getting scorches. They were 103 at first pitch last night on the field at Sioux Falls. What the heck is Nick, the ticket dude, doing a WD-40 seat? This is her seat right here, actually. That's Nick's seat right there. Nick, ticket dude. I'm telling you, you guys can come up with some creative nicknames, and that's a simple one. But yeah, Ticket Dude. Hello, my name's Nick. You know what? If Nick the Ticket Dude, that's what they should do. Hey, this is Nick the Ticket Dude from the Monarchs. Would you want some tickets? That'd be great. I'd say, who? What? Your name's Ticket Dude? I'm all in. Yeah, it's his new business card, Ticket Dude. No name, just an email. And if he called me and said, hey, I'm Nick the Ticket Dude, I'm buying. How many suites do we have available for tonight? I'm buying. Because he's the Ticket Dude. He's not just some guy. I'm Nick. I'm director of tickets. He's Nick the Ticket Dude. So everybody's going to be the dude or dudette or something. Good stuff, everybody. Good stuff. Good stuff. I hear Morgan chuckling in the wings over there. She's here. I feel like one of these days this is one of those days I kind of feel like I should probably replace this with something else. Like maybe something with some lead in it. Can I mix this? Can I do a roastery and rum? Would that work? All right. Anyway, what else we got here? Yes, what I was saying though, and we were talking about this over the weekend in Sioux Falls. We were up in that beautiful 84 degrees, but we're actually kind of in a nice little spot here. You know, it's gonna be hot. It's hotter north of us and hotter south of us, which is a real rare. Usually, it's kind of like starts south and goes cooler, but it's hotter the north of us, hotter the south of us, and it's still hot as heck here. Don't get me wrong. This ain't a walk in the park. It ain't triple digits like it was in Sioux Falls or in the DFW or Oklahoma City or wherever. Anyway, enough of the weather report right there. What did you guys think about last night? What were your thoughts about last night? Are you, again, every game's a different game, and we move on tonight. What were your thoughts about that? Also, I want to ask you guys this too on the show. My other question is Vin Scully passing. Did that move your needle? I moved my needle quite a bit because I think that what I wasn't going to tell you guys, and I didn't get a chance last night on the broadcast, but because it happened during the show or during the game last night, but I never met the man. I don't think I was ever within 100 yards of the man. I had a couple of mates of mine, actually a broadcast friend of mine in Australia, Chris Coleman, got a chance to work with him for an inning or two, I believe, when the Dodgers played the Diamondbacks in opening day 2014 at the Sydney Cricket Ground. And he spoke in glowing terms, and that's the closest really of anybody I've really known, except for a couple of players who have told me the stories they've told me about, him on the charter and things like that. But I think the ultimate as a broadcast person is that when somebody says, I feel like I knew him, and I really never met the person, I think that's a mark of a real good guy in the craft. And not only a good guy, a Hall of Fame legendary. And that's what that guy was. I mean, Vin Scully was a guy that I feel like I knew, but I never met. And that's important. That's the ultimate compliment, I think, that somebody feels like they know you. And I feel like I knew the guy, even though I'd never met the guy in my life. I can remember several times I was working, doing some DJ work and radio station work, and I'd get off 10:30, 11, sometimes 12, and I would race back to my apartment in Arlington and catch the MLB late games on the West Coast and be watching those Dodger games late. And thinking to myself, one day I'm going to get back to the booth again. And this is when I was out of the game for several years, and it helped motivate me. So anyway, just some thoughts there on that. And I think that's what makes, and I hope, by no means am I Vince Scully, never will be in 100 lifetimes. But, somebody comes to me and says, hey, I feel like I know you. And if you guys think that my wife and I have a good time, we do. Because you guys get to hear that in the broadcast. Or you hear that Jackson and I have a good time, we do. We're good mates because we hear it in the broadcast. And I hope that you guys, when Morgan and I laugh or whatever on one of our shows, it's because we are mates. We're all friends. And I hope that comes across as genuine. So anyway, let's see here. I thought Brock had a strong showing. Yes. And Joe is correct. He's maturing for our eyes. I thought about this last night with Jackson. We were talking about this after the game. Are you against seeing Brock Gilliam run out there as a starter? He's had the last two outings have been 4 innings and 4 1/3. 3 2/3 and 4 innings. I mean, that's sort of borderline. That's long relief, but borderline on a rotation spot. I mean, that's just thought. I mean, I think that's something that the club will probably think about. I haven't asked that question, but Kenny says, I can't shake it on Vin. He says, it's like I lost a family member. Thought about him last weekend when, yes, Albuquerque watched the old Dodgers farm team. Yeah, the Isotopes now. I remember them called the Dukes. By the way, if you watch Better Call Saul, the Isotope thing came up on the 2 episodes ago. And I told my wife, I said, you know what that is? And the reason you know the cab driver is from Albuquerque is because the Isotope thing from the windshield is hanging, even though he's in Nebraska. But he was, and then of course Carol Burnett, the character, tells us that they were at Albuquerque and they relocated there better for the sun. But the Isotope thing's hanging from the cab, thus he recognizes Saul because of he's from Albuquerque. So anyway. But yes, the AAA Albuquerque Dukes forever. Every Dodger farmhand that ever, really, you were talking going back years, went to the Duke City. Now the Isotopes, but now they're AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers. But forever they were in Albuquerque. I mean, we're going back, as far back as you can go. They were in the Duke City, but now they're in Oklahoma City. Let's see, yeah. Without fail, he says, Stito says, when TV's on the air, people need parts after work. Yeah, well, there's that. Guys are great. Air fryer wings, yes. Trying to see what else we got here. Yeah, so anyway, those are my thoughts on the game. Let's check the standings. How about that? I guess I'll probably do that. Last night, as I mentioned, Sioux City came back twice and did lose on a walk-off to Fargo. And my mouse is messing up here. There we go. Try it again. There we go. Also, we talked about last night, Jackson and I did, there's some really interesting races going on. And I think the race for the top, obviously, is always pretty exciting. But those folks at the bottom, I mean, Gary passing Cleburne again. Cleburne did all that work to get out of the cellar. And they find themselves back in fifth again today, and they wake up. Because as the Garys are starting to kind of sort of do some things as they're in Lincoln. Lincoln, all of a sudden, is starting to a little wobbly. Then Sioux City's right in their heels. I mean, so let's look at the standings here. Bring these up for you right now. After we play today, let's pull them up. There we go. There we go. All righty, bring the banner down too. So last night, action around the association. This is where it all stands now with the wins and losses last night. I can give you those quickly just off the top of my head. Last night, it would have been, let's see, Lincoln. I said Gary did beat Lincoln. Yeah, Gary beat Lincoln last night. It was, I'll just give the scores here. Gary went 8-2. Cleburne 8-0. I'm sorry, Milwaukee 8-0 over Cleburne. It was 11-10 for Fargo over Sioux City, walking that off. Chicago beat Lake Country 4-1, and Winnipeg and Sioux Falls 14-11. The Canaries beating the Goldies last night, which leads us to today. Again, Chicago's 7 clear, cooling off a bit. Milwaukee's 7 back. Now, we had somebody talk about last night, I believe it was John Updike, our friend from South Shore, was saying that he believed Milwaukee is going to win that division. So that's 7 games to make up, but we'll see. King County back at 500. They're 9.5 back. Gary now 16, but has a percentage point edge over Cleburne. And they are basically a game ahead in the win column, and they are a game ahead in the loss column too, but they are 16 back, 408-406. Lake Country finds themselves still in the hunt, which is fun, but they got to have a lot of things go right for them. And 24-45. In the West, Kansas City now with Fargo now tied. Now Kansas City has the head-to-head. The Monarchs need one more win against Fargo to clinch the season series, but have the head-to-head. So that could all be taken care of the final week. That's some underlying drama of the Labor Day weekend baseball around here. Besides getting a playoff spot, the tiebreaker will be coming to effect as well. Winnipeg 5 back. They had a chance last night to gain ground and did not. 14 back for Lincoln, but they're only a half game clear of Sioux City. 18 back with Sioux Falls. Sioux City suddenly got a little this comeback magic in them. I don't know. It's weird with Sioux City. I'll bring this back down. Just watching their games the last couple of days, the magic for them has been impressive. The offense has sort of come to life. But what's carried them over the years and what's made them so dangerous has always been that knockdown, drag-out bullpen and really the deep pitching staff, that deep bullpen. Not quite seeing that. They're getting some runs up. Their offense is starting to really carry them. Now, I didn't see where Chase Harris went on the disabled list or the injured list. That hurts because he is as good of an ignition piece as there is in the offense for them. But it should be an interesting week. And suddenly a series that 2 weeks ago I thought, meh, we'll go to Sioux City. Let's just do our business and do what we got to do. It becomes interesting. Sioux City, from their standpoint, looking at next week, playing Kansas City, they can find a way to win that series, and they've done it already once. You know, they beat the front-running team. They can bring everybody back down closer together and climb over the Lincolns. So there's that. And we'll break their schedule down a little bit more, of course, the weekend. Yeah, Cleveland did all that work to get out the cellar, and no one still knows how to say their name correctly. It's Cleburne, not Cleburne. Cleburne, not Cleveland. Although everyone wants to, the Australian pronunciation is Cleburne. The American pronunciation is Cleburne. The Texan pronunciation is Cleburne. That helps. Very funny, very funny, very funny. Let's see here. All right. Tonight's a matchup of 7-win pitchers. And tonight going for, it's Jack Fox, right-hander. Of course, Lewis Thorpe going tonight. I believe I saw Lewis had shaved. I swear I saw that last night. I swear I saw him warming, or not warming, but walking, and I thought, is that Lewis? He didn't have his jersey on, but I'm thinking that's what I saw. Could be wrong. But both 7-game winners tonight should be an interesting matchup. Thorpe, and we may have heard it last night, Jackson interviewed Kerrigan, the center fielder for them, and he was talking about Jimmy Kerrigan. Was talking about he and Lewis Thorpe played with each other in the Twins organization, so they knew each other. And he's looking forward to facing Thorpe tonight. And he was talking about it. When I thought, and that's another thing. I'm going to brag about our broadcast a bit here, if you let me brag for a moment. But I'm going to see a lot of teams interview the other team. But hey, they wear uniforms too, and Kerrigan and their club played well last night, and I hope our fans want to hear what they had to say. Jackson did a great job last night chatting with them. And by the way, Caleb Grizzle doing the work with Joe last night. Thank you very much for that. So I'm bragging a little bit here. Chris says WD-40's Aussie pronunciation is WD-50. The Australian thing, Steve, you got to remember, the Australian thing is everything's SS and IE and Ys. For example, Christmas is Chrissy, right? Brisbane is Brizzy. Tasmania is Tassie. See what I'm saying here? So you got to remember, anything like that, it's SSY or SSIE. It's just the way it works. By the way, Team Australia is going to be playing in the Sapporo Dome in November. Saw that this week. I asked Lewis about that. I'm assuming Lewis will be on the list for guys that possibly pitch in that, I would think. I wonder if he's got a call from Dave Nielsen yet. Playing Team Japan there in a tune-up for the WBC. And should be exciting for the team there. But U.S. I saw today as well, the U.S. Under-18 World Baseball Classic team. That's going to be held down in Florida. And the U.S. is the top seed in that World Baseball Classic Under-18 tournament. That begins, I believe, this weekend. And the WBC, and if you guys don't know how those rankings work, each level of your national team gets credit. So if your under-16 team is the tops in the world, you get points for that. If your national team is tops in the world, you get points for that. That's how the rankings work. They combine all the rankings, and that's helps countries out that maybe not have a better use. Like, for example, Australia doesn't have a very strong little league team. They're young and they're still trying to find their way, that program, but their under 16s, 18s are pretty good, and it helps push the national team to a top 10 finish ranking wise, or a team like the Netherlands, who's got a lot of, kids from the islands who play for the Dutch team, and that really helps their 21s and their national team and those rankings. That's why the Netherlands are a top 5 team. But those rankings, I saw those this morning. And that bracket coming out this weekend. So, yeah, that begins, I believe, this weekend down. I believe it's in Sarasota, Bradenton, I think that's right. But anyway, it's the World Baseball Classics 18 and unders. It's kind of cool. So one I was telling you about earlier this year that was played up in Thunder Bay in Ontario a couple of years ago. So anyway. All right. Questions and comments. Last call here. Monarchs and the King County Cougars tonight. Again, it's game 2 of a 6-game stretch. With them, then we're done. We'll see them again. That's it. Crazy. It's a weird dynamic of the schedule. But something that, it's like Willie Brady was talking about last night on our dugout report. It's kind of cool seeing a new team. I mean, you want to measure yourself against a new team, and you've seeing what they've got, and you want to kind of it's a measuring stick. These little tests we talk about. This is a test here. This is the first time in a while where Kansas City lost the first game of a series at home. Now it's got to win 2 in a row at home, and that's the kind of thing you're gonna have to do going forward. And losing a first game, winning 2 more to win a series, because you're still playing the baseball math here, which is win tonight, win tomorrow. And that's going to be the challenge for the Monarchs here. 2 7-game winners tonight. One more note, too. The team, and Joe mentioned this yesterday, the team they're banged up. He mentioned that. He was quite frank with us during our top step yesterday. He's working to try to secure not just a body, but the right body. And that's very important. If you wanted to just put a body out there, you could have done it. He's trying to find the right body. They are really stretched thin. Pete Cosma's down day to day right now. Hurt the ankle there in Sioux Falls over the weekend. Of course, John Hernandez is, I believe, I know he's running, but I believe he's going to do some light swinging and throwing perhaps to test things out. I believe that's coming up today or tomorrow. So we may have a better update, an idea of the timeline, which is still 4 to 6 weeks. We're now in week 2 of that original diagnosis, but actually week 2 is tomorrow. So we're 2 weeks into it tomorrow, which happened up there in Milwaukee 2 weeks ago. So, and everybody else seemed to come out of the series, but Joe did mention that they were banged up, and he said they're really thin down there. And there's not a lot of, you have JC playing first. You've only really got 2 official outfielders on your roster right now, and you got Casey playing right. And Casey does a great job. The thing is, you're moving Casey to right, where he's a great first baseman, and you've got a situation where JC's swinging the bat really well, but you can't play JC behind the plate. Alexis has got to catch every night, and so you're not going to get any spells for these guys, and that's the real challenge. And you're just trying to hold on this stretch right now until you get some reinforcements and get some guys healthy. And it'd be huge. Getting Pete Casa back would be huge, because that would slide Kevin Santa back to the utility guy and probably play the outfield, and give Casey back to first, and you'd give a break to Alexis Almeida, who's having to catch every day right now. And you want JC's bat as much as possible as well. So there's a lot of dynamics at play here with this thin roster right now. But hey, everybody goes through it. Everybody has the same issues, injuries, all that. It's part of the game and part of what we do. So I want to fight through that. All right. Last call. Hopefully tonight we'll have some good news highlights for tomorrow's show, which are coming your way right here tomorrow at the ballpark. And then we're in King County Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Sioux City next week. As far as this show going forward, tomorrow, Friday's iffy. It all depends on what time we leave, and I haven't heard that yet. My assumption is we're leaving middle of the night, which means all bets are off. That's the honest truth. All bets are off. But definitely Monday and next week we'll be in Sioux City and do the show from there. Got to find someplace. The last couple times we've been to Sioux City, we've done the show for the hotel, and it's just kind of a hotel. Nothing fancy about it. The old hotel there was across the river, had a great view of downtown. We shot the show by the pool, but there's no great view of anything more than a Casey's across the street. The Iowa State Extension Center too, next door. That's it. Ain't nothing else. Anyway. Ubers are hard to get in Sioux City too. There's that. So this may be the hotel lobby. Oh well. All right, folks. Tonight, broadcast time on AA Baseball TV. That will begin after about 6:40-ish, whenever those boys down there are ready to go. Really, it's when Morgan's show is ready to go. When her show gets going down the field, that's when we come on the air on AA Baseball TV. MixLR will start right at 6:30 tonight. I'm going to revisit something I started on last night, and I talked about in the broadcast, but I really want to get more into it. And that's the story of Colonel Rupert, Jacob Rupert, Colonel Rupert, the guy that put the Yankees on the map. He bought the Yankees in 1915. He was a guy I discovered yesterday, a very big part of the relationship that was budding with the Negro Leagues and Big League Baseball. And I would tell you this, the story sounds like we don't wait till 1947. If he is the owner of the Yankees and doesn't pass in January of 1939, the Yankees probably had the first Negro League player, because he was definitely on the track for doing that. And so much loved by the community, the black community there in New York, that he was the brewer of the Knickerbocker beer magnate up there. I didn't know this story, but the Rupert Memorial Cup, something the Monarchs played in 1942, was founded in 1939 and was played all summer. 4 different doubleheaders played at Yankee Stadium with the Negro Leaguers. Something we learned about yesterday, and I'm going to talk about that tonight on Monarchs 101. We got into it last night a little bit, but I didn't get a chance to finish that, and we talked about the broadcast, but I'm going to give that to you tonight. And also on this date, I believe on this date in the Monarchs history, we're going to look at Satchel Paige in the big leagues. So that's all coming up on the pregame show tonight. And you'll get that on MixLR. That's AA Baseball TV right there. The pregame will be radio side tonight. That's always going to be on MixLR. There we go, right there, your radio side. And then on YouTube, our YouTube channel, you can watch me spill a hot dog on my shirt, which happened last night, live on the YouTube booth cam. Had a big old splotch of mustard there. Twice. Not once, but twice. It was like I was eating oysters on a bun. It was weird. The hot dog went flying out of the bun. Big old yellow splotch on my shirt. Thank you for WD-40. That's what she does. And that was last night. Tonight, the booth cam, you never know. You might see me do this to my head because I was like doing nuts because I kept dropping the ball on little things in the booth. Or maybe we'll just sit there and look at each other, which happens sometimes as well. So that'll be on the broadcast tonight. And Jackson will join me. Also, Caleb, the entire crew from here at Legends Field in Kansas City. Give you a shot of the ballpark one more time just to show you that all good here. All good. Nothing to see here, folks. Get this down. Let me bring this up. And let me give you a shot. Just bear with me here. It's not the smoothest transition, but there we go. Looks good. Ready for baseball tonight. We'll do that at 6:30. Gates open at 6. MonarchsBaseball.com. MonarchsBaseball.com. The ticket dude standing by. Was. They're going to lunch. MonarchsBaseball.com. The gates open at 6 o'clock tonight. Monarchs and the Kane County Cougars. All right, you ready? From 1 through 3, go Monarchs. I'm ready. You're ready. We're all ready. All ready. Here we go. All righty. 1, 2, 3. Go Monarchs. I'll see you in the broadcast tonight, everybody. Promise. Here we go.